While clearly book-smart, Riddle seems to occasionally lack common sense, particularly when it comes to cooking. In addition to adding oyster sauce to the strawberry tart he bakes in Book 1, we see him struggle throughout the culinary crucible when he tries to make cabbage leaves uniform in size, is told to not weigh water for parboiling or to measure the width of mincemeat. A chef ghost asks Riddle outright why he signed up for the course in the first place, and Riddle explains that a house warden should be the best at both academics and cooking, but also, it makes sense to get a head start on living independently. Riddle is met with a chopped onion for what might be the first time in his life during Culinary Crucible. He reacts with confusion when his eyes begin to water and rubs them with his hands, which makes it worse, also to his surprise. Riddle struggles with his cabbage rolls despite memorizing the recipe and acknowledges, even beyond cooking, there are plenty of things in this world beyond the limited aggregate of my experience. Today was a good reminder to stay humble. Riddle has another cooking adventure in a vignette where he attempts to craft a soup for an ill tray. Lilia offers his support, giving advice such as adding 4 spoonfuls of soup stock per cup of water. Riddle expresses frustration with being told that cooking involves a lot of intuition, and doubts that good food can come from pure instinct. Lilia recommends ingredients such as strawberry tarts, bananas, and yogurt, as, the more nutrients you put in, the faster he'll recover. Seeing nothing strange about this logic, Riddle says, then a heavy hand would be wise here. Riddle says he let thoughts of Trey guide his intuition in crafting the soup, but it is giving off a rather pungent odor. Azul explains Riddle's curious gap between academic performance and logic, saying, Riddle's always been better at written exams than applied ones. We also see that Riddle is completely ignorant to popular trends, though Cater defends Riddle when Ace expresses surprise, saying that Riddle has simply never cared. When Ace tries to explain Cater's smartphone design, Riddle refuses to listen, insisting that he has never once been inconvenienced by this gap in knowledge. After telling Cater and Ace to either sit down or go to their rooms, Riddle reflects that it might not hurt to look into the trend of Cater's smartphone design. In another example of Riddle prioritizing rules over logic, he tells Azul that he would intentionally allow an enemy to hit him if it were a rule, and despite how Azul, by his own admission, can barely ride a broom, he insists that Azul drives the chariot that is to take them out of Tartarus during Book 6, as he doesn't have a driver's license. Riddle seems to be confident in his potionology abilities. When Silver cautions him about botching a potion during Vargas camp, Riddle responds, "Who do you take me for?" And in a voice line, Riddle says that he enjoys mixing chemicals because, unlike cooking, all components must be added in precise amounts. In a vignette, Riddle warns Jamil and Azul about a difficult potionology lesson, explaining a task that no one in his class had been able to accomplish, to Jamil's surprise. Riddle explains that he did not deserve the abject humiliation of cruel insulting the second-year students for their poor results, which is why he is so willing to share his information. According to Jamil, Riddle is always at the top of his class, but Riddle tells Jamil not to patronize him. Jamil reflects, Riddle always takes everything so seriously. The solution to the problem that Riddle could not solve is later revealed to be emulsification, a process used in cooking, which would explain why it was unknown to Riddle. In a vignette, we learn that Riddle does not look at exam results because, what would be the point, when the results are always the same? Azul concedes that Riddle earns perfect scores in every subject. Riddle explains an essay assigned to the second years that he struggled with, as a paper proposing the wholesale reevaluation of the topic was published 3 days before the essay's due date. Azul says that Riddle was the only student who submitted a perfect assignment, as he was the only one to refer to the new findings, which resulted in points being deducted from everyone else in the year. Riddle apologizes, but Azul insists that he does not need to, as they all had the same access, but he was the only one who noticed it. Riddle volunteers to tutor Cater in third-year level homework, as any self-respecting house warden should be capable of resolving his dorm members' problems, regardless of what year they are. Ace reacts with surprise to learn that Riddle gets perfect scores on every exam and nearly accuses Riddle of cheating. Riddle cautions him and Ace responds, "But with all the studying you do, it's no wonder you don't know what's going on in the real world."